Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Ironwoman. We only have special guests, and today we go to Ireland to Bevin Mahon. When you read the biography, I'm just impressed, to say the least, a passionate leader, entrepreneur, and the owner and CEO of Dentaltech Ltd. When you hear the statistics, 12% of 15 to 24-year-olds in Ireland are missing teeth. 33% over 35 are missing one or more teeth. 6% of people aged 24 to 75 missing all natural teeth. And part of this demographic, I still have all my natural teeth. And then 42% aged 75 and more missing all their teeth and wearing full dentures. Here we have Bevin. Introduce yourself, but I needed to say that statistic before we talk. Then we can unpack that and learn from you. And what are you helping the world, I have to say?
Because then you can understand why I actually have a business. Because some people do say, I'm not sure there's a business in dentures. Thanks so much, Suzanne, to have me on the call and the podcast. Delighted to be here. My name is Bevin. I'm the managing director and owner of Dentaltech. We're based in Dublin in Ireland, and we look after people who are missing some teeth and all of their teeth, and we help people to smile. Our whole thing is about improving people's quality of life so they can eat and chew and smile with confidence. We do that through our own clinics. We've kind of got a mix of delivery. We do it through our own clinics. We've got clinics in kind of all along the east and southeast of Ireland. And then we also have a portable service. We do look after our aging population. We go into nursing homes and look after people in nursing homes as well. So that's what we do.
Help people smile. I think that's what we all want, to look good and feel good. Yeah. And how did that all start? You said before we recorded, you're not a dentist.
I'm not. I kind of fell into this a little bit. My father is a denture specialist and set up the business probably as far back as the 1970s as a small local and repair clinic for dentures. And I joined in 2001. And at that point, there was probably maybe 4 or 5 staff altogether, including my mum. They were both full-time and had been doing it for quite a bit of time. I joined on a 3-month contract. As you can see, that was in 2001, on a 3-month contract over 20 years ago to put in a computerized accounts package. While I was here, I could see so much opportunity for a business to grow, not just for jobs for people, but to create more jobs, to create something bigger than just us. But I was in my early 20s, so my parents kind of thought this was funny that I would have these big aspirations, and sure, I didn't even know the industry, and I wasn't a technician, and I wasn't a denture specialist, and I wasn't a dentist. But a couple of years later, after I joined, I did stay for a bit, and a couple of years later after joining, my parents were talking about closing the business, and because that's typically what happened in this industry, was that if you weren't the dentist and you weren't the technician, the business couldn't be handed or passed on to somebody. So what happened then, I suppose, is I kind of went, well, that's not the case in all other industries. Why is that the case in dentistry? I challenged them quite a bit. And again, they thought, this young pup, who's she? She has no clue. I challenged them and I said, look, if I replace you doing what you're doing, can I grow the business? Can I continue? They thought this was hilarious. They laughed initially. Initially, I would say they laughed. But that was more of a challenge for me because I really was not happy about them thinking this was funny. It kind of motivated me to put those changes in place, but I did. It took me about 12 months altogether to replace them in specific roles that they were very, very key roles for them. They didn't really laugh again. When I had an idea, they might have looked at me a little bit puzzled, but they weren't really laughing. They were kind of going, okay, she's proved us wrong the first time. She's going to do it again. Because we have our own clinics, but we also do manufacture dentures and orthodontic appliances for our own clinics and other clinics. Where I started to look at replacing them was around key roles where they would have been involved in maybe the design or the manufacture of say, somebody's appliance or somebody's denture. So freed up my dad more to spend time in the clinic doing what he loved, to see patients and growing that aspect of it. I started kind of backfilling them almost to kind of in different specific roles. Now, I will be honest, I'm making it sound like it was really easy. It was not really easy and it was tough. But once we kind of figured out how to replace one small piece, we were able to replace another piece and another piece and another piece. And that's how we grew. The nursing home side of it kind of fell in front of us because somebody asked us to go to a nursing home. Well, actually, sorry, they asked us to see some people from a nursing home and they came to see us. And while they were here, we realized we were only seeing a very, very small fraction of the people from the nursing home. What we did was we organised to arrange a visit to the nursing home to see the other people. And that's how that started, because they needed to see us more really than the people who were able to get up and leave the nursing home and go into the dental practice. I suppose they were mobile enough to be able to go and have the treatment, whereas in the nursing home, those people couldn't actually leave. The only way they were going to get access to treatment was if somebody actually went in to see them. So that's how that started. That was kind of back as far as 2012. And yeah, I've kind of grown it since then.
And what is your background? It seems like you almost have a program management background. Or
very different. It's very different. I actually did my degree in social science. I'm a qualified social worker, but I didn't actually go into that industry at all. The whole way through secondary school and college, I had been working part-time doing accounts to kind of, I did a couple of part-time jobs, but accounts was one of them. And I learned very old school traditional Kalamazoo ledger accounts. When I finished college, I went off to the US and I worked for a bit there. I really loved the US, but my heart was at home in Ireland. I eventually came home and I kind of thought I'm going to have to get a job now. I'm finished my degree. I need to be a big girl and get a job. I started working in finance departments in Ireland and that's how it all came about. When I was changing jobs, my mum said, would you mind coming in to us and putting in a computerized accounts package? No problem. It'll take me 3 months. And that was over 20 years ago. Very different background.
Yeah, but I think that goes to show, and especially for the probably young listeners, you start somewhere and then you learn something and there is an opportunity, and don't say no.
This is it. There's no straight run. Sure, there isn't. It's a meandering road, really. And while I don't work as a social worker, I do think my degree and what I studied when I was doing my degree, without a doubt, it does stand to me now. I knew very early on, maybe halfway through my degree, I was kind of going, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this. My gut instinct was right. My mother encouraged me to finish the degree, as good parents should. I do think that a lot of that now, as an adult, looking back, I kind of go, do you know what? Even though at times I did kind of say, wow, I did a degree and I didn't use it, I actually think it was the right road for me to take. It's led me to here. So I don't really have any regrets around any of that. And talking to my friends and colleagues, it is rare now that I come across somebody who has started off very young with something in mind and continued that throughout their whole life. Most people change their careers several times now.
I think they say that people, I only know it from the US, but people tend to have like 4 to 5 careers.
Yeah.
It's also interesting. I would be bored if I would do the same as where I started out. Oh, no.
The lovely thing about it is what you learn here, you take with you to the next piece and the next part of life. And each time you change career or change what you're doing, you're taking all those learnings with you. You can't unlearn things. That's what I love about learning and I love about the brain. It's there and you bring that with you and you bring that experience and that knowledge and you then can implement it in a different, like as I say, a different career, a different role, a different environment altogether. It's exciting for young people to be able to see that because I think for my generation, it was a little bit scary that in your teen years, you had to pick what you were going to be for the rest of your life. It's a little bit frightening, to be honest, to think of that so early on.
You become a dentist because your father was a dentist. But what comes to my mind is, so you're talking about the nursing homes and you have a social worker degree, you caring about the people. And now you're caring about the people because of the dentures. You can create a business out of that, but you can relate to the people. And you said it very nicely. Those people in the nursing home, they're not mobile anymore. You have to go there. I know in India, they have this clinic for cataracts and they also go to people because people cannot travel.
They can't meet there. That's a lovely way that you've put it, I suppose, Suzanne, because you're right. It's only really in my later kind of more recent years that I really kind of look back at that time when I did my degree and kind of think, well, that was all about caring for people. I just wasn't sure how I was going to bring it to the fold. And I do care for people, but in a very different way. I do think that I get to do the nice bits, which is help people smile. Even though I don't physically do the work myself, I do help a whole team of people to do it. It's my job to help them, support them every single way they can to be amazing at their jobs.
How big is your team? And I'm interested in the 3D because I think this is fantastic. You produce dentures 3D printing. Tell us a little bit how the...
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. There's about 40 plus on the team altogether across the 3 locations. And actually we have a 4th location opening soon. In kind of late, maybe 2017, 2018, I really was struggling with the fact that, as I said, if I go back to when I first started in the business, my initial thing was to replace my parents and I suppose keep the business in business and the people who had jobs to have jobs. But we then grew and we grew and we grew and we grew. And I really felt that we had a responsibility to bring our service to more people. But the only way that I was going to be able to do that is if we grew capacity. And in dentistry and dental technology, there's a very limited pool of skill set. There's only one person qualifies per year in Ireland as a dental technician. One year there was no people qualified. And our populations are growing. We're living longer, so therefore there's more need. And we aren't producing any more dentists than we were 10 years ago. Now I'm kind of going, okay, well, we want to grow the business. We want to get more reach. We want to access more people, but I don't have the qualified technicians and I don't have the qualified dentists or clinicians. So what I started looking at then was I looked at other industries, how do they grow their business with limited, and technology is the way to go. Initially, I was thinking technology, is it around communication? How is it? And then I came across 3D printing in other arenas and I was like, oh, wow, this is just phenomenal. Surely there would be a way to bring this to dental. And I could see it in other smaller pockets of dentistry, maybe orthodontics or crown and bridge with things like models and things. I thought there has to be a way. I started to research. Through the research, I found a few companies that also were researching. They were talking about materials and printers and merging and partnering to have a printer and a material. And I started really looking at it. And I started that in 2017. And sure enough, fast forward to 2020 and we got our first printer in 2020. We designed and printed our first 100% digital from the patient's first visit all the way through to the fitting, 100% digital 3D printed denture. And it was the first person in Ireland, the whole of the country, to have a 3D printed denture. I think they still are the first person to have a fully digital from start to finish. That was no analog stages, 100% CAD. That was a huge milestone for us and our team. We went from 2017 to kind of 2020, the middle of 2021. And we've just been onwards and upwards since then. And what that did was, I suppose initially there was a little bit of concern from my technicians saying, well, God, if there's 3D printing and design, we're going to be out of a job. We'll be obsolete. And I remember saying to them, that's what everybody said to Bill Gates when he said he was putting a PC on every works. And they just looked at me like I had 10 heads, a bit like my parents did 20 years ago. I wasn't deterred. I kind of thought we're going to upskill. We're going to find another way to deliver this product to people. We're going to utilize your skill. We'll take away the bits that maybe people don't like so much because there's some messy bits in the previous way of manufacturing. Sure enough, I had just decided we were going to 3D print. We were just going to do this workflow. And I had 2 big barriers. My team are going to find it difficult because they don't have time. They're already at capacity. And then the other thing, then I was this is going to cost us a lot of money. I put that plan into place in February 2020. And 4 weeks later, we all know what happened.
Question, right?
We all know what happened. I did the same as everybody. Initially I ran around like a headless chicken going, what are we going to do? The nursing homes were closed. Our clinics were closed. I had a team of people that I needed to look after mentally as well as financially. They're like my second family. And it is a family business. It's second generation. It was really, really important that I looked after them. And I really felt that responsibility and I took it wholeheartedly. Once, I suppose, the Irish government said, okay, well, we will help businesses. I could take a breather. I could relax a little bit and go, okay, well, do you know what? There's one thing I do have coming into this is I have a plan that I had no clue how I was going to roll out a month ago. I have the plan, but I had no idea how it was going to happen. And the 2 biggest barriers, one was the team and time. That was my biggest thing. And that had now gone because my team now had time. So we worked online. We were obviously very early adopters of Zoom. I loved Zoom. I was a little bit addicted at the start. I think, if I'm honest, I think my team probably got Zoom fatigue very quickly with me. But it was a nice way to be connected and then also to give people focus and an opportunity to still be working in an industry that had actually closed. We worked on other things. We actually did open very quickly Again, we were doing emergencies, did things like emergency dental treatment for frontline staff. We did a free service for them so they could go back to being on the front line if they had any emergency dental pain. Anyone who's ever had a toothache will know what it's like you need to see a dentist straight away.
Mhm.
And we did things like we had a contactless collection and delivery service for dentures that broke during COVID. So we had 2 drivers out on the road all the time. And then we had people posting us dentures from all around the country to get them repaired. We were working a little bit and it kept everybody really motivated. And then we were also looking at this new way of doing things. Without the team, I'm not a one-man band. I can't do it on my own. Without the team, we would absolutely not be today where we are now. It is a given without them being wholeheartedly involved and challenging me and equally me challenging back. We were like forces pushing against each other going, I don't think we could do this. Yes, we can. Okay, well, maybe we could do it this way. It was amazing collaboration. And now we are the largest 3D printer of dentures in Europe and we're rivaling our counterparts in the States.
Congratulations. And in a way, everybody's like, oh, the pandemic was horrible and everything. Time for you. So in a way, it was a godsend for you.
Yeah, it was actually. Sometimes I think in great adversity, there are opportunities and we're not all always ready to accept those or to jump in with them. From a business perspective, I think one of the biggest things I've learned is that while our plans may not be perfect, if you have a plan, at least you've something to work off. Because when we're under pressure and we get stressed, we revert back to kind of natural status, which is it's either fight or flight. You can fight if you have something to fight for. Flight is easier because a lot of people did hit the flight button, including myself for a bit. But because I had a plan, I kind of went back and went, oh, I could now do that. Could I look at that? Maybe I could. Let's do it. And then you kind of put that with other people and the team are like, oh, we could actually look at that now. You've been talking about that for years, Bevin. Let's try it, So yeah, it was a really nice thing to have come out of COVID for us, that we were able to use it as an opportunity. And yeah, I think, in really difficult times, there is always learnings and potential opportunities too, so.
2024 is here. What's next for you? How can you scale bigger?
Our plans are, absolutely for scaling. For 2024, we're getting the keys hopefully tomorrow for our 4th location. We will absolutely be opening that in early 2024. We're also 50 years in business this year, but it's been such a busy year. We have not had a party. So I will absolutely be having a party in 2024, right? Because we want to celebrate with our team. We want to celebrate with all of our friends and family and really celebrate what we've done, but also plan ahead. We want to open more locations in Ireland. We'd like to be in the UK and we certainly would like to be in the US as well. So that is the plan. That's been the plan for the last couple of years. I do love the fact that we had a plan and we're actually delivering on it, which 20 years ago, I didn't have a plan. I had an idea. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I did do it. Whereas now we have a plan and I am really proud that we're delivering on that plan. Changes a little bit, but not hugely.
That's okay. We need to have a plan and make it happen. You seem to be very busy. What do you do to rejuvenate, or what do you do when you don't work?
So this year has been this year ahead is going to be a busy year, I suppose, for me and last year too. What do I do to relax? I spent a lot of time with my family. I've got 3 kids. Yeah, all through all of that. I didn't mention them really, but I have a 19-year-old girl. She's in college. And then I've got 2 boys, age 14 and 15. So I like to spend time with them. We like to have kind of meals and my youngest plays rugby. I act as a taxi driver sometimes, but I do like doing that like all parents. And then personally, I have set a challenge with several of my friends. I've been holding off announcing this. 2023, I was out with 4 of my friends in South Africa and we said that we should do something pretty epic charity. And I can honestly say that it was probably after 1 or 2 glasses of wine. So we agreed that we were going to climb Kilimanjaro in 2024. And now I actually have a date. I will be climbing Kilimanjaro in June 2024 with 6 friends. I am training for that now.
You can do that. I've done it. It's possible. Anything is possible.
I am nervous, but it's pushing me out of my comfort zone for sure. But yeah, I absolutely want to do it. And one of my friends has a company called My Desk. It is a portable desk. It's a backpack desk. She's based in South Africa and there's like over 5 million children in Africa learn sitting on the ground. She has designed, she 3D prints it. I love the 3D printing element. And part of the funds that we raise are going to go towards providing these desks for children in Africa. We need to raise a lot of money. I'm going to work hard for that. That's a real goal for me personally. So on top of the job, the 3 kids, my husband, I have a husband as well. So I have to spend time with him too. So doing all of that and then also doing something like that as well. Just, it keeps you focused, gives you passion and a drive, something to look forward to.
I can only say I'm so honored that I met you. You give me a lot of inspiration, having a plan, doing it. And sometimes when you are with friends, you have 2 glasses of wine, commit to something, just say yes, and we'll figure it out. Thank you so much for all your insights. And hopefully we can have another podcast when you have climbed Kilimanjaro.
Absolutely. I would love that. Thank you so much for having me. Really delighted to be here today. Thank you.
What are you taking away from this conversation? Have a plan. The plan doesn't always have to be 100%. And then commit to something cool. Take it from the Ironwoman. We have more than 400 episodes. Take a listen. What is your favorite podcast? And Take It from the Ironwoman is also the book, Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time.